Well, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Wollard with the Iron Mike podcast. Welcome back. Obviously, it's been quite some time since we last all saw each other, talked, whatever it may be. And yeah, that's all my fault. I had really good intentions, obviously, with keeping everything up. I guess we can consider this just the start of season 2, or however the podcast world works. But I think that it started with a couple like recording issues with a couple episodes, and I think I've talked about it before. If something like that goes wrong, then I'm immediately discouraged with whatever it is, and I'm very bad about just immediately troubleshooting stuff. And so it got kind of just tossed to the wayside, and life happened. And right around that time, I think the last episode that I uploaded was like end of March, and so now it's July 13th. So about 3.5 months ago. The last one was end of March, and then that following weekend we went and got our puppy, who has been fantastic so far, but he is also a handful. In the first couple of weeks, we didn't really know what to do with him. I'm working from home, and I didn't really want to bring him upstairs with all my cables and things like that for him to chew on. But then downstairs, he's freaking out, and he didn't like the crate. And so it was just a mess for a couple of weeks. And then he finally enjoyed upstairs and laying down. And it just things kind of snowballed one after the other. Started playing at summer camps, kind of swamped with work, things like that. Excuse after excuse to not upload another one of these. I'd upload one, and mic quality wasn't good. I'd get some new mics. And again, I don't really know how to EQ and how to edit and how to make everything sound really good and all that good stuff. And so if it's not the best, then I'm really bad about taking messy action, even though I tell other people to take messy action. If it's not perfect, if it doesn't sound good, if I think that things are going to deter people from listening or watching, whatever that may be, then I just don't do it at all. And on top of that, you've got the Instagram algorithm that's constantly changing, and social media is not my forte. I won't say I don't enjoy it, but it's very forced on my end to be, to let people into that, side of my life, and to be really outgoing, et cetera, et cetera. And so that takes a lot of energy to do those sorts of things. And the podcast is something that is fun for me, and a lot of people, more than I thought, actually, have missed it and have reached out and asked when it's coming back, that sort of deal. And but the podcast doesn't necessarily drive clients or like help business grow. It's something that's fun, but because it doesn't necessarily drive client growth, I have to put my energy and focus on the social media and on bringing quality to my current clients, but also making sure that potential and future clients see and the results I'm able to help them get and kind of get to know me. But all that to say, the podcast kind of got bumped to the bottom shelf, but we're back. Hopefully, I'm going to take advantage this week. So I'm in Memphis right now. If it's kind of echoey, it's because I'm in a hotel room. Hopefully able to knock a few of these out. I'll change shirts or something in between episodes. That way, those watching on YouTube, that way it looks like it's a different day. But yeah, we're currently in Memphis. My wife is here for a communications and media conference, and so she's learning and doing all that. And I was like, well, I'm going to take advantage of downtime to an extent and just set up shop in a hotel room and record and write articles and just try to be as productive as possible and knock out some content to send y'all's way. So anyways, this episode is essentially just kind of a life update, where I've been, kind of recap. Obviously, I mentioned Simon the puppy. That's what everybody's here for. It's what everybody wants to hear and know about. Allie and I cannot go anywhere without people wanting Simon the pup to come along with us. He just turned 6 months. He is a Caton de Tuilier, so a French puppy. We're super fancy, but he is great 99.9% of the time. But he is in his current, as all puppies are, their current chewing phase. But it's not like chewing on shoes, which would be fine, to an extent. But he is chewing through cables and wires and things like that. So I've had to buy a couple new Ethernet cables. Allie's had to buy a couple phone chargers. And so that's where it gets kind of scary and sketchy, is because he's chewing on things that are potentially plugged into the wall. My sister is actually watching him this week while we're in Memphis, and he chewed through all the way through our humidifier cable that's in our room, and luckily Allie had unplugged it before we went out of town. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what would have happened. So we are navigating that at the moment. We used to be able to take him outside without a leash or anything. We don't have a fenced-in backyard, anything like that. And he'd come back, we could bribe him with treats and stuff. Well, now he goes outside and eats deer poop and does not come back and thinks it's funny to run away. Luckily, he doesn't, run towards the road usually or anything like that. I think he thinks it's a game to run away from his parents. So that's always a good time to have to chase him down, to have to get deer poop out of his mouth because it's disgusting. So 'tis parenting, I guess, a good step in the right direction of the family that we hope to have one day. And so, but he's great. He's a little fluff ball, and everybody loves him. He's nice to everybody, which is huge for us. We want him to be able to behave obviously around kids, our kids, other people's kids, play well with other dogs, all that good stuff. And yeah, he's great. As far as training and stuff like that's concerned, just a little update there. I'm still doing kind of a push-pull leg, chest and back, arm kind of split. John has been teaching me kind of like day trading, options type stuff, and so we've been learning that, and so that requires us to get our workouts done earlier and then dive into market opens at 8:30 our time, and so it requires us to get our workout in before that. And so we've been attempting that schedule of working out around 7:15, 7:30 in the morning for about an hour, and then heading to his house now that he's back in Rogers, being able to trade and kind of learn that. I'm paper trading, so that means I can make all the mistakes in the world and it doesn't do anything. But so that's been a fun adventure. And for those who kind of know my story to an extent, went to Washoe Baptist for 3 years, and I tell everybody that made a lot of great friends, lifelong friends, incredible professors, but the biggest takeaway from going to OBU before I transferred out was just a lot of debt. And so that's kind of always been the forefront, the back of my mind, sometimes at the forefront of my mind of, being a husband, a future father, hopefully, and just, that's the baggage I brought into mine and Allie's marriage. So there's always a sense of, which she hates that I say that, but there's always a sense of that's my problem to deal with, and I know that's not right. She knew that was what was going on coming into our marriage, but that's always a burden that as a man that I wear, and I'm sure any guys listening can kind of feel that. You're responsible for your family, you're responsible for providing, and so when you've got a hefty number above your head, you're kind of doing whatever you can and figuring out the ins and outs of getting out from underneath that. We can't start a family, we can't get a house, things like that, until that's handled. And so while coaching is great, the business is thriving, we have very happy clients right now, and but there's a recession coming. We've got to adapt and figure out how we're still going to be able to get clients on, how we're going to be able to show people that your health is still just as valuable and just as important even in a recession versus not. And so how to make that affordable, but how to still run a business, how to bring quality. But all that being said, I'm not saying that there's not a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to be a very long time if I can't find other ways of producing income, passive income, whether that's trading in the stocks, trading options, things like that, whether it's creating ebooks, which is also on the table. I want to be able to put together some sort of, beginner's fitness guide that can kind of help anybody listening, help whoever it may be. Maybe they can't afford coaching right now, but they do want to get started. So just putting together some sort of a ebook in that sense, that they can, buy, download, have forever, that just, it gets them started. It gets, basic workout programs, basics of nutrition, basics of kind of everything that allows them to get started, and then save up, and then hopefully hire a coach once they start hitting those walls and plateaus. Then we can come in as the experts and make everything, keep that progress going. So that's kind of the gist of the training side of things, working out early mornings. That's kind of my split still right now. Kind of leaning out for the summer still. All that's going really well. I've had to start being the gallon jug guy again because I can't trust myself to hit water throughout the day. So I'm the guy carrying around the gallon jug, and that's okay. It comes with the territory. If you're in fitness, then the jug is kind of your rite of passage. And I've been on and off on that for quite some time, but so we're back on it so that I can make sure I get my gallon of water in every day, because that's the hardest part for me. Protein, pretty easy. Hitting my macros, pretty easy, but my water intake is just terrible, especially when I'm upstairs. The last thing I want to do is walk downstairs, get a glass of water, and come back. It's gone before I'm back upstairs, and so the gallon of water is the way to go. Yeah, nutrition's been good. Protein's been good. We're leading worship for a camp on the beach in just a little over. So let's see, we'll go back. So next week we're home, and then we travel again. So that's been the craziness of the summer. I'm here and gone every other week, basically, and so that's what's made it really tough to do things. And again, I'm a type B, so I've gone from, all right, every Friday, that's, my check-ins are done with clients. Every Friday is when I'm going to record the podcast. And it's like, well, Friday, sometimes we travel for D-nows or camps or whatever it may be. So, Wednesday, I'll record it. Wednesday is usually pretty light before check-ins, and then I'll upload on Friday. Well, then Wednesday hits, and I'm just like playing catch-up from the week. And it's like, okay, well, then Mondays we have like our team meetings, and then we go and we trade and we work out, and Monday is kind of the catch my breath from the weekend. It's usually not very productive. So then like Mondays went out the window. And so it's one excuse after the other is all it is. But it all kind of came down to it just got pushed to the wayside. So here we are finally, hoping to be able to push, knock out quite a few of them today. And then that way they're just kind of sitting there waiting. The goal of this week is really just to get ahead on as much of content as possible. That way, once, we're gone for the beach. Okay, cool. Well, I've already got, a social media post ready for the whole week, podcast ready to go out, scheduled to go out, everything's scheduled. That way I can just lead worship and hang with my friends and not have to worry about anything other than communicating with my clients, which is a joy to do, not necessarily extra work. So, other than that, it's kind of all I had really for this kind of life update episode. Oh, I did want to make sure, so I had an online client, reach out, when I was talking with her about re-signing and things like that, and she was saying that she had used her HSA, her health savings account, from her work. She'd used that to pay for training, and so that it was, she'd used all that money, so she'd need to rebuild it back up, and then she was going to re-sign, which is great. But we had never really thought or tapped into the HSA side of things before, which is awesome and great. It's a whole new ball game, because there's a lot of people that can't necessarily afford the coaching and things right now, but they're funneling thousands of dollars over the course of however long, and it's just kind of sitting there. Obviously it's there for emergencies and it's there for those health things, but we've figured out that people can use that HSA for online coaching, which is great. So the only caveat is just making sure that your work's like good with it. You've got to get a letter from your doctor basically saying that you fall into the category that you need it, which, I mean, the list is extremely long. The part you have to make sure is just that your HSA considers the online coaching, having a trainer or a workout program, etc. Just making sure it follows under their guidelines. But that way it's tax free, and then you get to use what you've already been putting your money into. Your doctor just writes a letter of necessity. So I mean, if it's lower back pain, if it's any sort of weight issue that's going to cause any sort of health issues, I mean, again, your doctor writing the note is what's going to be able to get you in the door. You take that letter of necessity to your HSA or your work or whatever. You file everything away. You keep track of everything throughout the process. Most people have debit cards now from their HSA, so you're able to use those to pay for the coaching, or if not, then I think you're able to get reimbursed throughout the year. But regardless, it's a conversation to be had of if you can't afford it, then being able to tap into your HSA to afford it is something worth looking into. I have a client, an in-person client that I've been working with for about a year and a half now, and her HSA approved it. She's good to go there because she's had I think she ruptured a disc a while back, so she's had lower back issues for quite some time. And so she's able to get it covered. She's upping from 2 times a week to 3 times a week now because she can afford to do that and swing that by tapping into that account, pay for 3 months at a time. And so we're excited as a team, just the opportunity to grow our business, but just the amount of people that are going to be able to experience, freedom and a healthy lifestyle who couldn't afford it previously, but they've been building up this savings account that now can go towards, and I think probably has been able to go towards for a while, but nobody's really knew or was kind of tapping into it. And so we're excited about that and just the opportunities for growth there and the success stories of clients that we're able to work with. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had for this episode. Let me make sure in my notes that I didn't have anything else. I mean, moving forward, I mean, again, this is the part that I enjoy, the type of content that I enjoy, getting to kind of go through the weeds and making sure that all the information that you guys are getting or hearing, whatever it is, that it's accurate, and it's just a fun outlet for me, as I've said before. So moving forward, hoping to obviously get more uploads out. This is a pretty easy setup. I don't know, we're 16 minutes in or so, and I don't know how the mic quality will fully sound, but it is what it is. Most of y'all out there aren't audio tech professionals. You're here because I'm funny and because I'm entertaining, right? Yeah, we'll go with that. So yeah, more uploads in the future, hoping to be more consistent and get weekly ones out. That way it's something that people can always wait on. Not sure on the day, but we'll make it happen somehow. I am recording video if you're watching video, but if you're listening and you're watching video and you want to watch me sit in front of a camera and not look at the camera very often, because I'm either staring at how I look in the screen or staring at my notes, then feel free to go to my YouTube channel and watch it there. And if you're listening on a podcast, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever it is, then obviously I appreciate that. I want to know what y'all want to know. I want to know what y'all want to hear, what y'all want to learn about. I don't know if I want to set up like an email that y'all can, do submissions and stuff to. I don't know if what the best route is, other than, hey, go to my Instagram or go to my Facebook and send me a message. That doesn't necessarily seem optimal. And even as I'm saying this, like, hey, which route do y'all want to go? Well, if I don't have an email set up, then that is the only route, unless y'all have my phone number. So let's just do this for now. My email is mikewollardtraining@gmail.com. If you have topics that you want to know, send it there, or even what your preference is for, sending in topics and things you want to hear and learn about. That's what's going to kind of drive this. Obviously I can just pick topics and talk about whatever all day, or myths that are kind of gaining traction right now and being able to kind of poke holes. I'll probably do another episode about protein here this week, or like in the coming weeks. But just kind of figuring out and learning what all y'all want to know and hear. That's what I'm kind of here for this channel. I don't want to talk about topics that y'all couldn't really care less about. So make sure that, or if y'all could, shoot me an email or DM me on some sort of social media platform and just let me know the types of things that you're hearing and want to know if they're true. Stumbling blocks that you have, hurdles, questions, whatever it is, comments. I just want to know those somehow. So mikewollardtraining@gmail.com. You can send me an email there and I'll be able to get back to you. Or you can DM me on any of my social media platforms. Instagram is Mike_fit-by-strength. And then Mike Wollard on Facebook, WOLLARD is my last name spelling, because it sounds different than it's spelled. So anyways, I'll wrap this one up because I'm just kind of rambling at this point. But hey, a little 19-minute episode. Everybody loves short and sweet. So there's kind of my life update, how things have been. And yeah, I'm excited to get back into the swing of things. So like, subscribe, tell everybody about it, and we'll talk to you in the next one.